Hello everyone and welcome. Sit back, relax, make a cup of tea or whatever you like to drink and get ready for news stories from Yellowcat. Send your own favorite stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. So subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet, and let's get started. What is the most foolish error you have ever witnessed a coworker with incompetence make? Part 6. I was in charge of a big department store when I worked there. Many of the managers and supervisors were older and would have been retired by now if they hadn't worked in retail their whole lives. Instead, they have to work until they die. Because of this, they never really got technology, and because of this, our store used to have the most fake coupons accepted in the district. Things would get much worse. The company gave out coupons with the same barcode, which meant they could be used more than once. A lot of these coupons were high-value deals like $10 off any purchase at $10 or more. There was also the issue that our older workers would take any coupon as long as it could be scanned. There was a website you could check to see if the coupons were real if you weren't sure about them. If it scans, it must be good, my coworkers always thought. I hated having to help coworkers who had already been helped by one of the geniuses and would tell me to just scan the obviously fake coupon. The one time I came in, I had made my own official store coupon. At first glance, it looks completely real. What's the big secret? It took 100% off of everything you bought, even things like gift cards that are usually not eligible. I had to show them how the coupons could be fake and why they needed to check them on the website. Some of the managers looked at them and said, if they scanned them, they'd take them, as if they didn't understand what was being said. The following week, I was dragged into the office for loss prevention. Apparently, several of the managers and supervisors made copies of my fake coupon and taped them down to all their registers just for employee use, but the cashiers were using them to get people to sign up for a credit card. Open a credit account, get everything for free. Even though they lost a lot of money, they said it wasn't their fault because the coupons worked. When I worked in a store, I was in charge of the department and trained other people. It wasn't a very well-paid job, but it got the job done. The kid and the security guard will be the names of the two people in this story. People I taught never stole and never lied if they did. The kid and the security guard both did those things. In the parking lot, the kid and the security guard found a cover sheet for an $80 money order. It looks like the kid talked the security guard into helping them take it to the front when they both found it at the same time. It's clear that this didn't work. The next day when I got into work, I heard from a coworker that the kid and the security guard tried to cash in the receipt when the first one of them got off of work. What day was it? The kid got off first and tried to cash it in, even though that wasn't allowed at the job. We only gave out money. It was morning when I got to work and the kid was called in. They were asked what they were trying to do and they lied. They were then fired right then and there. They knew the security guard was talking to the kid because they were caught on camera. The kid also lied to try to save their job, but it didn't work. The two of them never went back to that store again. At the beginning, I said that my department didn't make a lot of money. However, we all made around $600 to $700 a paycheck, which was a few dollars more than hourly wage at the time. If they were telling the truth, the security guard made more than $1,000 a check. It was a stupid way to lose their jobs because they both lost over $40. Oof, time for a fun story. An administrative assistant for a foster care agency is what I do for a living. I'm in charge of hiring and training people for a lot of different departments. A few months ago, we decided to give a job to someone who applied. Once they accept and sign the offer letter, they'd like their information to be sent to IT so they can set up their email, domain, and other things. For me to hire them on our stupid HR software, the applicant had to put their SSN on their application. It's important to note that they don't have to put their SSN on the application in order to send it. Most of you know that this kind of information isn't usually given until the first day of work, but they want their equipment to be given to them before the first day. Well, I asked my program administrator what I should do because I couldn't put the applicant in a pre-hire status for IT without their SSN. My stupid administrator sat there and tried 10 different SSN combinations until one of them worked. Then he told me I should do this for future applicants and then change the number on the day of the hire. I flat out said no. As soon as the information was sent to HR, an email came through saying that the SSN number did not match the applicant's name and had been flagged. The idiotic boss who suggested this sent me the email with the words FYI written in it. In all of my years working management and admin, I've never had someone so absolutely effing stupid to suggest this as a solution instead of reaching out to the applicant and having them edit their application, which they can 100% do. I was the idiot. I worked for a business that sold bricks and other building supplies for new homes. Our bricks were used in a building just a few blocks away. They had a small pallet of bricks that didn't work out, and we agreed to pick them up from the job site. I brought a flatbed truck that I had just learned how to drive. It was full of bricks, but I didn't secure the load because I thought, it's only 2 blocks away, what could go wrong? I drove off, but right away, I forgot to tie down the load, so I turned a corner and went to the brickyard. The pallet flew off the flatbed and hit the ground. A very nice car from a nearby business was just inches away from being hit by the bricks. It's even worse that I didn't notice the bricks were gone. When I got out of the truck to unload them, they were gone. The boss was a good guy. He just laughed, mainly because no one was hurt and no property was damaged. Doing startup of a new laboratory. For a few months, it was just me and a boss. He did the stupidest and most dangerous thing I've ever seen a coworker do. For example, the shelves in a new metal chemical storage cabinet were shipped in place with little plastic bumps, just for shipping purposes. As you take the furniture out of the box, there are 5 different layers of warnings about this. This idiot waited until I was at lunch to start helping by taking the cabinet out of its box and putting all of the liquid chemicals in it right away. Things like things that say a dozen times not to store with acids, etc. This jerk pretty much made a refrigerator-sized bomb. The full shelves would crush the shipping nubs and cause glass bottles of poison to explode together. I dislike that person. He also left empty hot plates on all the time and insisted on putting folded paper towels on unused hot plates. Also used office power strips in the fume hood. One day he filled it with about 5 to 10 liters of solvent, filling it up several inches deep. I came in just as he was about to reach his bare hand into the liquid to save his drenched residential power strip. For F's sake. The last straw was when he kept telling me to put chemical waste down the sink instead of using the right methods, which are the barrel and pickup. It's against the law to pour it down the sink because it gets into the water that people and animals drink. The cost of proper disposal was only $40 a month. It cost $20 million to build this lab. I was fired for insubordination because I wouldn't pour the chemical waste down the sink. I did file a lawsuit and win. What is the worst thing that a-hole neighbors or homeowners associations have done to you, Redditors? Part 6. Blamed a water-retaining depression in their front yard on us. Because our street climbs a hill, our front porch is about 5 feet higher than theirs. In their front yard, there was a bare red clay patch where rainwater collected and the grass was dead. We had a little French drain installed one spring that ran from the side of our house to the corner of our driveway. After the first rain, they called the HOA and claimed we killed all of their grass and created their brand new flooding issue. They lied about me on several occasions while maintaining eye contact with me. After removing the drain, we filed a report with the HOA. A few days later, there was more rain and their front yard flooded once more. I captured footage of the water seeping through their front yard, spanning the whole width in the absence of our drain pipe. It was probably 3 years before we spoke to each other again, or even looked at each other. Since then, they've moved, and I hardly greet them when I see them in town. This happened in January. I moved into an optional HOA neighborhood last year. I had enough money to buy a house. I only moved here because the HOA was optional, and it's a safe neighborhood. Compared to where I live, it's paradise. I have 2 cars, 2004 Toyota Camry and 1999 Ford F-150. The F-150 hauls when needed, while the Camry is my daily driver. To aid the move, I bought the truck when I bought the house. I towed a rented trailer when moving in. F-150's old, but mechanically sound. to keep both cars clean and wash them monthly. My refusal to join the local HOA made them dislike me. Retirement-aged HOA president seemed to have nothing to do. He repeatedly mailed me applications to convince me to join, but I always declined. Start politely. However, when the president became more aggressive, I told him to place it in the shade. I received fines in the mail from the HOA after they decided I was a member. I went to the next HOA meeting to dispute the fines because I knew they were fake. They tried to convince me that living here includes HOA membership whether I like it or not. This power move was expected and I was ready. I laughed at their stupidity and told them. Then I informed the board that I was not a member and had a lawyer write a C&D for them. I handed over the envelope, the board skimmed it, and abruptly told me to leave. The fine stopped for a few months, then randomly resumed. I attended another HOA meeting and told them this was illegal, I'm not in their HOA, and I'd sue if they continued. Again, I was yelled at to leave. The fine stopped forever, but the HOA president made me an example. Just a few days later, I came home to find my F-150 gone from my driveway. My cameras caught the HOA president entering my property. He stabbed each of my truck's tires in the sidewalls with a pocket knife, unscrewed the license plates, put them in a bag, and left. Soon after, a tow truck removed my truck. We visited the HOA president after I called the police. He wasn't home. After explaining my situation, this was Grand Theft Auto. Police identified the tow truck as coming from a local junkyard, not an impound lot. I accompanied the police to the junkyard where the HOA president and 4 men were disassembling my F-150. Before we arrived, they'd removed the truck's headlights, hood, bumper, radiator, and front panels. The engine bay was full of disconnected parts and the Cadillac inverters were cut off. The HOA president looked like a deer in headlights when he saw me with police. Seeing my truck in that condition nearly made me rage. Almost, because I swore at the people who ripped my truck apart. The HOA president was caught red-handed, but claimed he towed my truck because it looked abandoned. I claimed he illegally towed it off my private property because the HOA had no right to do so and my cameras had seen everything he did. He went pale, then furiously tried to stomp toward me like he was ready to fight while yelling that my truck was an eyesore, so he got rid of it. He got new bracelets and a free ride to the station. The police were lenient to the junkyard workers who said they were just doing their jobs. The junkyard owner is the HOA president's cousin. He was hired to tow for the HOA because he owned a local impound. He didn't know I wasn't an HOA member or that his cousin had ordered his employees to dismantle my truck for parts as an abandoned vehicle. The employees and owner agreed to fix my truck after the police cited them for breaking many laws. I said it had to be at least as good, if not better, or I'd seek legal advice. Owner told employees to do whatever it takes or lose their jobs. He said he'd bill the HOA president later for everything. Then the police and I watched as those employees meticulously reassembled my truck. They whispered about me and gave me the stink eye. The HOA president probably offered to bribe them to dismantle my truck quickly. But now they had to fix it for free. They worked for hours. They had to weld the Cadillac converters back in and replace some parts due to hasty disassembly damage. The engine misfired when they started it. Although they denied it, police agreed with me that they could tell it misfired. Taking the truck apart damaged one coil pack, so they had to order replacement parts from a nearby parts store. At least one headlight stopped working. Again, something they had to fix because I could prove with my home cameras that they were both working when I drove it. LED bulbs were nearly new. They must have broken something. Cutting rather than disconnecting the coolant lines was also done, probably because they were rushing to disassemble the truck. Another set of parts had to be ordered from the nearby store. I can only imagine how much the HOA president was charged. Because they were unfixable, all 4 tires were replaced. The truck had to be lifted and all 4 wheels removed. There were other issues. All these junkyard mechanics had to work overtime to fix the truck so I wouldn't sue or press charges. I couldn't take the truck home until the next evening because the police had to return my plates and the junkyard had to replace the tires. I returned the truck and the 2 junkyard workers looked at me like I shouldn't come back. The truck runs better now. My troubles earned me a free sorta overhaul. About the HOA president. I sued him for trespassing, theft, property damage, and illegal towing. He had to pay his cousin for all my truck repairs, lost his HOA position, and moved out of the neighborhood after losing the lawsuit because everything was caught on CCTV. He agreed to the settlement, so it didn't drag on. I've had no HOA issues since the truck incident. The old HOA president was a power-tripping narcissist who issued pointless fines that had to be disputed, so my neighbors love me for getting rid of him. I've also checked that junkyard for parts. I retrieved a good condition grill from my Camry instead. They recognized me and looked dirty. I didn't mind otherwise. If you want to watch the part 5, click the link here. Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and comments. We're very happy to see you all in the comments too. Thanks for your support.